Hi, and thanks for joining us for another video here at Street Smart Options. It's Jim Bunker with Jonathan Sherman, and we're going to be talking about on this video options trading platforms. So, folks, there's a bunch of different ways that you can trade. There's obviously different techniques you can use, but it's also very important that you understand how to use the platforms that you're on. So, Jonathan's going to give us a bit of an overview of those platforms today, and if you're missing out on tips and tricks like this, it might be because you're not a member of our free Facebook group over at Facebook. And you can find us over there just by putting in the letters SSO for Street Smart Options. You'll pull up the Street Smart Options group. You do have to ask to join, but once you ask to join, we'll get you right into the group. And we answer lots of questions like this in the group, as well as post new content. Go ahead, Jonathan.
So today we're talking about options trading platforms, and we have a lot of different brokers. Of course, you can trade options through, but what really differentiates the different offerings that are out there are ease of use, the amount of commissions you pay, and then the research they offer, how easy it is. And what tools they have to set up your trades and different legs and spreads and things like that. And also, how they perform when the market's busy. Do the platforms freeze up, or are they tried and tested? Do you have more confidence in them? Because you really want to have access to your platform if the market conditions are really heavy. I've been involved in situations where the platforms really were bad when conditions got heavy, and then you're stuck in these trades you can't get out of. You end up on the phone, and then you're on hold. It's crazy, and you end up can lose some money that way. So the platforms you can see in front of you that I put up here are the ones that are maybe talked about the most, and that is Etrade, and they have a platform called Power Etrade. Interactive Brokers, they have something called Trader Workstation. TD Ameritrade, which is Thinkorswim. Tradestation, and Charles Schwab offers the Street Smart platforms. Lightspeed has a LiveVol X, and then there's tastyworks, Robinhood, and Ally Invest. Now, I haven't traded on all these platforms, so I can't speak to all of them. The ones I'm familiar with are Interactive Brokers, TD Ameritrade, Thinkorswim, Tradestation, and Charles Schwab. Those are the ones I've traded and I've been familiar with. Now, mind you, some of these have evolved. I currently trade at Interactive Brokers, so I'd be a little bit rusty, on some of these other platforms with their new things and what's happened since I've stopped trading on them. So just briefly, E-Trade is known for having a very intuitive platform, so that it's easy to use. It offers also a wealth of research, and and most of the bells and whistles you'd expect from a very old company that has been offering options for a long time. I can't speak to how well the platform performs on really busy days, but again, it's an older platform, so I assume they have most of their kinks worked out. And now, it's not the least expensive broker. In fact, I think it's one of the more expensive brokers on this list. But it does have a kind of a sweet, easy to use platform. Interactive Brokers historically has been known to focus to cater to professional traders. They have a reputation of having technology where it's not necessarily easy to use or intuitive, a little bit clunky. But in the last 3 or 4 years, they've changed their focus to improving their platform so that it works better for beginner traders. And personally, this is the one I use, and because it's the least expensive broker for me, and has all the tools I need in order to implement all kinds of trades. And actually, I'll do a little demo with Interactive Brokers towards the end of this. So then we have TD Ameritrade, and they use the Thinkorswim platform, and they purchased Thinkorswim. Thinkorswim used to be an independent company, and it is a very powerful, intuitive, easy-to-use platform. It's good for the beginner trader and the advanced trader. It's not the cheapest platform in the whole wide world, But they, once again, it's a complete suite, and TD Ameritrade, has won like best broker overall in a number of different reviews. And the reason for that is they have, a lot of research. They have really good customer support. With interactive brokers, the customer support is kind of dodgy a little bit. And they offer, all the, you'd expect all the bells and whistles with regards to order execution. And like I said, the research is really good with TD Ameritrade. Tradestation is known as a technology leader in online trade execution. And, I've used them, and now this is years ago, so I'm a little bit rusty on their current platform. I found them a little bit. I found it a little bit challenging as to use their platform, especially if you're not familiar with it, it takes a while to get used to it and set it up. But they are known as having really good execution, like on busy days and stuff like that. And Interactive Broker is really good that way too. And so the technology behind Tradestation is really strong, and they have fast execution and reasonable brokerage rates. But they're known as technology leader, and they have really good analysis tools, which is why I was attracted to them initially. You can all kinds of tools you can look at for evaluating technicals on a chart and things like that. Charles Schwab Street Smart platforms, I used them for several years, and they're okay. They perform well on busy days. The nice thing about the Charles Schwab platform is they have this thing where you can actually, and it's different than some of the other platforms. They have more order options, so that, for example, they have an auto walk feature where you can actually walk your bid or your ask up, so that until it gets executed, so you can try to optimize your in price instead of having to do it manually, one at a time. So that's really handy. And most of the other platforms do not offer that. I don't know any others that offer that that walk feature. So that's pretty cool. Lightspeed Live Vol X I've never used, but I've read that it is catered towards mostly experienced traders. It is a fast execution platform. I can't speak to how well it performs when the market's really active and busy, but I've heard decent things about it, and they do have it's a suite of tools that you can use, like some of the other brokers. They're an established platform. Now the remaining three, tastyworks, Robinhood, and Ally Invest, I really know the least about, to tell you the truth. tastyworks is a relatively new entry. Now they have people that really talk about it a lot, like on bulletin boards and stuff like that. I guess they have pretty inexpensive commission rates and all that, but they're a relatively new platform, and it's the new platforms. It's not new, but it's a few years old, and they can be dodgy when it comes to when the market's heavy, and busy, and getting your trades done. But again, I'm not real familiar with tastyworks, but it is out there, and it's something you want to investigate. I believe there are reviews online about tastyworks. Robinhood is known as a free platform. So it's like free trades, right? But whenever you get things free, there's always like trade-offs, right? And so Robinhood might be good for maybe a beginner trader when you're starting out. But I've heard problems with order execution and things like that, and it certainly wouldn't be a platform I'd want to rely on for my hard-earned money. But if you're starting out and you want to save some commissions and test things, Robinhood is probably an okay platform to try out. And then there's Ally Invest, and they offer a platform for trading, and they're trying to get more, offer more in regards to options trading and build their platform out. And so they're a viable option to test out, and they actually offer cash bonuses if you give them big enough deposits. So they're obviously trying to attract people to their platform. So you can go online and you can look up reviews for some of these places. Investopedia has a good article about best online brokers for options trading in 2019, and they go through and maybe in more detail than what I've covered with regards to pros and cons for a lot of these platforms, and if you want to go there, it's probably worthwhile checking them out. They rate Interactive Brokers as the best platform overall, and they quote some of the cons as streaming quotes display one device at a time, and then the customer service thing I mentioned. Lightspeed, some of the cons: you need a high balance to open an account. It has a minimum $100 a month charge. So some of these platforms do charge more than others. Limited education. And then, TD Ameritrade, a lot of bells and whistles, but you have to pay a higher average commission rate for all those bells and whistles. That's the problems there. Etrade's been around for a long time. Again, I mentioned they have higher commissions than most. They have high margin rates, and there's also fees for multi-leg spreads. So that's a downside. Schwab, you really need some of these platforms. You need like multiple screens. I ran Schwab using 6 screens, right? And so it gets challenging to run some of these platforms on 2 screens, and 1 screen is really limiting. So that's one thing you want to keep in mind. And tastyworks, newcomers may be overwhelmed. It says some asset classes are unavailable, limited portfolio analysis. They say it's a very stable platform, which is interesting. So that's pretty cool. And that's it. So that's the Investopedia's take. I wanted to just take a look quick at Interactive Brokers. And they have, this is their platform. It's called the Trader Workstation. And I have pulled up here their options trading window. And so it's pretty intuitive. It shows you can pull up the different calendar chains right here. It has the all strikes, and you can select custom strikes, just 8 strikes, something like that. You can there's a feature where if you're in a trade, you can, like a spread, you can auto roll to the next calendar dates, which is kind of nice. You can use these. Let's see. You can use like the smart chain, the smart order execution, so that you can do like a strategy builder right here, and then you can pick a strategy and say you want to do like a vertical spread, right? And then you can basically you can just select the legs of the vertical spread by this would be your long, and and this would be your short, right? And then when you go to execute, you can pick the midpoints, the bid ask, or whatever else you want to find in there. So it's easy. It's very intuitive. I find it easy to use. You pick the midpoint right there, and you can execute. This is the whole chain. You can they have different smart orders and all the different bells and whistles you'd expect on an execute on a platform. So that's pretty much, I guess, all I wanted to go over in this video with regards to options trading platforms.
All right, Jonathan, thanks for that. And folks, if you're watching us on our YouTube channel, give some thought to hitting that subscribe button. If you don't have a subscription to Street Smart Options on YouTube, you're definitely missing out on great videos like this and other informational videos that Jonathan and I do. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.